Eberron Forge of the Artificer is here, and in it are 5 subclasses. Today, we are going to dive deep into each one and see what all an Artificer can do. GameMasters here, and each Artificer subclass, like other subclasses, grant to you certain abilities, features, as you gain levels. While some of the subclasses for the Artificer, they're not new. They are updated from how they originally appeared in the previous books, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything and Eberron Rising from the Last War. The updated subclasses are the Alchemist, the Armorer, the Artillerist, and the Battlesmith. But we do get one new one, the Cartographer, and we're going to deep dive into that one a little later in the video. But for now, let's check out the Alchemist. As an alchemist, you are taking a tradition that goes way back in time, mixing liquids, solids, and other reagents for that matter, and combining them into potions and elixirs. But you have gotten so good at it that when you brew a potion, it takes you half of the amount of time that it would take for anyone else to brew it. For example, if you wanted to brew up a potion of fire breath, an uncommon potion, normally it would take, actually, tell you what, here's a quiz for you. We can see on this chart, found in the Dungeon Master's Guide, that an uncommon item takes 10 days and 200 gold worth of materials to make. But you see the asterisk next to time and cost? Under the chart, it tells us that the time and cost are already halved for a consumable item. So, the quiz is this. If you took the subclass Alchemist for the Artificer, would you half the half and make that 10 days and 200 gold cost 2.5 days and 50 gold instead? Tell me what you think your answer is. Tell me what you think the answer is down in the comments. Regardless, you get that at level 3. Also at level 3, you gain Alchemist spells. Some of them don't kick in until later levels, but you'll always have them prepared, meaning that it doesn't actually count towards the number of spells that you have on your spell list. But we can see that once you gain, for example, level 9, you'll have access to Gaseous Form and Mass Healing Word. Also, at level 3, you gain Experimental Elixir. In essence, you can create one of 5 different elixirs. Actually, 2, if you're holding the alchemist supplies when you finish a long rest. The effects are random, as shown on this table, and are only triggered when someone drinks the elixir. For example, should a 3 be rolled when they drink it, then they're going to gain resilience, which adds a +1 bonus to their armor class for 10 minutes. Should you roll a 6, you instead get to choose which effect the elixir has, and of course, as you grow in level, so does the number of elixirs you can create at the end of your long rest, but also the effects of any given elixir grows in effect as well. For example, at level 3, resilience, that grants you the +1 bonus for 10 minutes, like we said, whereas at level 15, it's going to last up to 8 hours. At level 5, you become an alchemical savant. Should you use your alchemist supplies as a spellcasting focus and cast a spell, you gain a bonus to 1 roll of the spell. The only drawback here is that it's got to be either to restore hit points or dish out damage in the form of acid, fire, or poison to have that bonus go into effect. It will make use of your intelligence modifier, but fear not, if your character isn't wise enough to have a modifier, then it's always going to be at least a +1. Yeah, I get it. Wise versus I know, wise, wisdom, intelligence. You get what I'm saying. Now, at level 9, you have experimented a lot with various reagents and gain restorative reagents. This allows you to cast Lesser Restoration, allowing you to end the blinded, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned condition without expending a spell slot and without having to prepare the spell. Again, you've got to use alchemist tools as the spellcasting focus. At level 15, you have Chemical Mastery. You gain Alchemical Eruption, Chemical Resistance, and Conjured Cauldron. Alchemical Eruption lets you deal 2d8 force damage to your target whenever you cast a spell that deals acid, fire or poison damage. You can do this once on each of your turns. Chemical resistance gives to you resistance to acid damage and poison damage, plus you are immune to the poisoned condition. Conjured Cauldron lets you cast Tasha's Bubbling Cauldron without expending a spell slot, without preparing the spell, and without the need of material components. Combine this with your level 3 ability of potion crafting, and you'll be a master chemist like Walter White in no time. Next up is the subclass that, more or less, lets you become Iron Man. Taking the subclass Armorer basically lets you don armor to function as a second skin. It's enhanced, and as the description states, it can hone your magic, allowing you to unleash potent attacks and create formidable defenses. At level 3, your subclass opens up to Tools of the Trade, in which you gain armor training, where you can wear heavy armor. You also get tool proficiency. Now, this lets you use smith's tools and gets you armor crafting, having your armor crafting time, similar to the previous subclass. Also, at level 3, you gain access to armorer spells. As with the previous subclass, as you gain levels, you'll gain additional spells, and they'll always be prepared. Another level 3 benefit is arcane armor. Basically, you turn any armor that you're wearing into arcane armor. The benefit being that if said armor would normally have a strength requirement to wear, now it doesn't. You can put it on or take it off as a utilize action, and it cannot be removed against your will. Plus, you can use the damn suit of armor as your spellcasting focus. This all lasts until you put on another suit of armor, or until you die. But to top it off, you can also customize your arcane armor by giving it one of 3 distinct models: Dreadnought, Guardian, or Infiltrator. And customizing it with the Dreadnought build, and you get Force Demolisher and Giant Stature. Force Demolisher shoots out a wrecking ball or sledgehammer from your suit, dealing 1d10 force damage, which also either pushes the creature away from you or pulls it closer to you. Giant Stature lets you enlarge your armor, basically increasing your overall size, but it lets you increase your reach by 5 feet, and if you're smaller than large, you become large, unless there isn't enough room to do so. In that case, you just simply don't grow. Taking the Guardian build gives you Thunder Pulse and Defensive Shield. Thunder Pulse shoots out a blast as a melee weapon that does 1d8 thunder damage. Plus, the creature hit has disadvantage on attack rolls on targets other than you. Defensive Field lets you take a bonus action to gain temporary hit points equal to your overall level, but this can only happen if you're in the bloodied condition. Making your armor into the Infiltrator build gives you 3 customizations: Lightning Launcher, Powered Steps, and Dampening Field. Lightning Launcher, as the name suggests, let you shoot bolts of lightning out that dish out 1d6 lightning damage, and once per turn, you can deal an extra 1d6 damage to that same target. Powered Steps lets you increase your speed by 5 feet, and Dampening Field gives you advantage on your dexterity checks. Hitting level 5, and you can attack twice when you take the attack action. At level 9, you get Improved Armor. This gives you Armor Replication and Improved Arsenal. Armor Replication lets you learn an additional plan for your Replicate Magic item feature, as long as it's in the Armor category, and Improved Arsenal gives you a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls with the weapon of your Arcane Armor model's build. Level 15 sees additional benefits to your arcane armor. The Dreadnought build increases your damage die to 2d6 force damage, and your Giant Stature increases its reach out to 10 feet. The Guardian build increases your Thunder Pulse to 1d10 thunder damage, and your Infiltrator build increases your lightning damage to 2d6, plus it makes that targeted creature glow with a dim light in a 5-foot radius. Plus, you gain speed that is equal to twice your actual speed. Like I said, this subclass basically turns you into the medieval version, the D&D version of Iron Man. And now that we've built our armor from scraps of metal in a cave, let's see what it would look like if your Artificer were to become Rambo. Don't push it, or they'll give you a war you won't believe. To survive a war, you gotta become war. And that's a good quote for the Artillerist, as they specialize in using magic to throw energy, projectiles, and explosions. At level 3, they gain ranged weaponry, in that they gain proficiency with martial ranged weapons, and they become proficient with woodcarver's tools. Plus, when crafting a magic wand, their amount of time to craft it is half of what it would take others to craft it. Again, you're kind of seeing a pattern here. Like the other subclasses, the Artillerist also gains access to their spells at level 3, and they gain more as they grow in level. They also get Eldritch Cannon. This is more or less what you see in this image. Of course, you can determine what its overall appearance is, but however it ends up looking, it's going to be considered a small or tiny object with an armor class of 18, and its hit points will be equal to 5 times your Artificer level. Should you use Mending, it's going to restore 2d6 hit points if it has sustained any damage. It has immunity to poison and psychic, and as a bonus action, you can use one of 3 options. Either it's a flamethrower, it's a force ballista, or it's a protector. Firing up its flamethrower aspect lets you, more or less, let loose a breath weapon of fire in a 15-foot cone. Those that fail a dexterity save in that cone are going to take 2d8 fire damage. Making use of the Force Ballista makes it a ranged attack on a creature or object up to 120 feet away, and on hitting your target, it's going to take 2d8 force damage. The third build, the Protector element, to this cannon has it emit a burst of energy that grants to itself and each creature of your choice that's within 10 feet a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus your intelligence modifier. At level 5, the Artillerist gains Arcane Firearm. Now this one's kind of cool. This lets you carve sigils into your rod, staff, wand, or other martial ranged weapon, turning it into an arcane firearm, which when you use it as your spellcasting focus, when casting your spells, you can roll a 1d8 and you gain a bonus to one of the spell's damage rolls equal to the number that you just rolled on that 1d8. Hitting level 9, and you get Explosive Cannon, which gives to your Eldritch Cannon the detonate ability. Should your cannon take damage, remember, it's got 5 times your level and hit points, but should it take damage, you can take a reaction to command it to detonate, which in turn causes each creature within 20 feet of it to take 3d10 force damage if they failed a dexterity save. And nothing here cites that damage has to come from an enemy. Think about that carefully. If you place it strategically, it can become an excellent destructive trap. It also gains Firepower, which boosts the Protector's ability, in which its damage roll or temporary hit points that it grants is raised by 1d8. At level 15, you gain Fortified Position, which provides 2 benefits, Double Firepower and Shimmering Field Projection. Double Firepower lets you create 2 cannons, and Shimmering Field Projection gives you and your allies half cover as long as they are within 10 feet of your cannon. Now, up next is the Battlesmith. This subclass of Artificer is considered to be both a medic and a tank. At level 3, the Battlesmith gains Tools of the Trade as well as their subset of spells. Each of the subclasses are similar in this, and as with the previous, as the Battlesmith gains levels, their spells also increase. They also get Battle Ready, which when they attack with a magic weapon, they can use their intelligence modifier for the attack and damage rolls, and they gain proficiency with martial weapons, but it is their Steel Defender that they get at level 3 that really sets them apart from the other Artificer subclasses. Think of the Steel Defender as a guard dog, but one that you can pick however many legs it has, either 2 or 4, maybe 3, or perhaps it's just a rolling ball. Either way, its overall appearance doesn't impact its statistics, but yeah, it has a full-on stat block, which we're going to check out in just a moment. The Steel Defender is it's friendly towards you and your allies. It obeys only you, and if you otherwise perish, that Steel Defender is going to vanish. In combat, it acts during your turn. It moves and takes its reaction on its own, but to give it a command, you have to take a bonus action to command it. If, however, you are incapacitated, it's going to be able to act on its own, presumably under the DM's control. Should it be destroyed, you can take a magic action to touch it, and this expends a spell slot, but it's going to return to life after 1 minute. But what's more, its hit points are going to be fully restored. Now, a Steel Defender has an armor class of 12 plus your intelligence modifier. It has 5 plus 5 times your artificial level in hit points, and it has a speed of 40 feet. You can see its overall stats listed here, along with its immunities, sense, and languages. It won't grant to anyone any experience as it has a CR of 0, but it does have Steel Bond, in which it adds your proficiency bonus to any ability check that it makes. It also has Force Empowered Rend, which does 1d8 plus 2 plus your intelligence modifier in force damage to a target. It can repair itself 3 times per day, or it can repair another construct or object that it can see within 5 feet by a number of hit points equal to 2d8 plus your intelligence modifier. For a reaction, it can deflect attack, in which the target attacking makes its attack roll with disadvantage. At level 5, the Battlesmith gets extra attack. You can attack twice, but you can also forfeit one of your attacks here to give a command to your Steel Defender to take its Force-Empowered Rend action. At level 9, you gain Arcane Jolt. This allows you to, basically, when your Steel Defender hits a target, you can do one of two things. Either channel Destructive Energy, in which the target will take an extra 2d6 force damage, or you can choose to heal a creature or object that is within 30 feet by 2d6 hit points. At level 15, you get Improved Defender, which gives your Arcane Jolt from level 9 a boost in healing or damage. It goes up from 2d6 up to 4d6, and your Steel Defender sees a small boost as well. In addition to its deflect attack reaction, remember it simply gives the target disadvantage to their attack roll, but here with Improved Deflection, it also causes that target 1d4 plus your intelligence modifier in force damage. Now, if drawing maps is more your thing, then you're going to want to check out the Cartographer. The Cartographer is a new subclass for the Artificer. They're pretty wicked, and I almost wanted to do an entire video just on them, but you'll see that the overall template follows what the other subclasses have. For example, at level 3, the Cartographer gets Tools of the Trade, in which they become proficient with Calligrapher's Supplies and Cartographer's Tools, and when they scribe a spell scroll, the requirement time is halved. Again, you can kind of see the similarities from this one to the others as well. They also gain spells at level 3. Again, as they progress, they gain more spells. The Cartographer also gets Adventurer's Atlas at level 3. This lets them create a set of magical maps. They simply touch creatures, and each one receives a magical map, which updates their relative position of all other map holders. It lasts until the Cartographer dies or they make new maps. When you carry one of these maps, you can add 1d4 to your initiative rolls, and you'll know the location of everyone else that's holding one of these magical maps, provided that they're all on the same plane of existence. You'll also gain Mapping Magic, which lets you cast Fairy Fire without spending a spell slot, and you can Portal Jump. This lets you teleport to an unoccupied space that's within 10 feet of yourself, or within 5 feet of someone else who may be up to 30 feet away from you, but they have to also be holding one of your magic maps. At level 5, you get Guided Precision. Should you cast a spell that hits the creature that is affected by the Fairy Fire spell that you had previously cast, you can add your intelligence modifier to 1 damage roll. Plus, should you get hit, you won't lose concentration on Fairy Fire. But I gotta admit, this part kind of confuses me, and I didn't realize that Fairy Fire required concentration to keep its effect going. Yes, it has a casting time of 1 action, and you have to concentrate while casting it, and its duration is 1 minute, but if you've already cast it, I guess I'm not really following what it means here. Perhaps my concentration has been broken, so please explain to me down in the comments what it is that I'm really kind of missing here. At level 9, the Cartographer gets Ingenious Movement. When you use Flash of Genius, which is a base ability of the Artificer that you get at level 7, it lets you make a reaction to give a failed ability check or saving throw a bonus equal to your intelligence modifier. Ingenious Movement lets you or a willing creature to also move within 30 feet of yourself to an unoccupied space as part of that same reaction. I mean, this could be very handy if it's a companion that just failed their save. You can simply teleport them out of harm's way. At level 15, you get Superior Atlas, which improves your Adventurer's Atlas from when you were level 3. It adds Safe Haven and Unerring Path. Safe Haven makes it so that when one of the map holders falls to 0 hit points, they can destroy their map, and in return, their hit points instead change to equal twice your Artificer level, plus they're teleported within 5 feet of you or within 5 feet of another map holder, effectively getting them out from whatever walloped them to begin with. Unerring Path lets you cast Find the Path without expending a spell slot, without having to have it previously prepared, and without needing the material components, which Find the Path lets you sense the most direct path to a specific location. So where does this all leave the Artificer? I see it as being squarely in the middle of something kind of exciting. As we dug into these subclasses, the good of them, the bad, the updated, even the new, there seemed to be a kind of a bigger picture forming. The Artificer remains one of the most flexible, customizable, and most misunderstood classes in 5th edition. With the new 2024 rule set offering only small nudges instead of a complete overhaul, it's become clear to me that WotC sees this class as already working. Now, I'll grant to you, whether you agree or not depends on what you really want from the Artificer. Do you want it to be a gadget-driven utility master, a pseudo-wizard with a toolbox, or a full-on technomancer capable of bending reality through inventions? In its current state, the class and its subclasses kind of tries to be all of that, which is kind of both a blessing and a curse. Now, keep that specifically in mind, as I have a serious question for all of you. But first, I need to thank all of my YouTube members and Patreon supporters, as their support of the channel has made it so that I didn't need to take on any sponsored ads for today's video. And the odd thing, once I hit 20,000 subscribers, the amount of folks wanting me to do sponsored ads has skyrocketed. And I can't say that I won't ever take one on, but yeah, the support that these folks have given, which in turn lets me ignore those emails, I cannot thank them enough. If you'd like to support the channel, giving it a thumbs up goes a long way. And if you really want to be gracious, I'll leave a link to my Patreon down in the description as well as below me here. Now, why would I say that these Artificer subclasses are both a blessing and a curse? Consider this. They each tell a different tale. They're all somewhat showing where the class itself shines, its flavor, its identity, its overall theme, but it also shows where it struggles, simply in mechanical consistency. Each of the subclasses feels like a piece of a larger puzzle, but a puzzle that just doesn't quite fit together. Each of the subclasses follows the same formula. At level 3, one gets a tool proficiency. They all get access to spells. They all get access to crafting, whether it be potions, armor, or maps. And that's what I mean by formula. There isn't much of a deviation there. I think that there are brilliant ideas, but the soul, the cohesion, it just kind of misses the mark. But I'll admit, I may be a touch influenced by the 3rd edition Artificer, which was very more heavily concentrated on kind of infusing magic items. Perhaps what I was more looking for was an Artificer that was a combination of each of these subclasses, but I do admit that these subclasses do show that WotC has tried to tune the numbers, smooth out the rough edges from what came previously for the Artificer in 5th edition. They didn't need to reinvent it, but it does need room to breathe. But what say you? And this is the question that I have for everyone. Where do you sit on this Artificer fence? Do you like the updates to the subclasses in the new book, or were you wanting something more of a Swiss army knife of a subclass, similar to how the Artificer was back in 3rd edition. Let me know your ideal Artificer down in the comments, and until next our paths cross, may your crafting tools stay sharp.